My name is Jason Benet. Today we have a very special guest.
I wanted to be different. I wanted to be something more than just a gross out horror film.
It was required by your contract that you had to deliver nudity and violence.
Wow, that really looks gross. Like, it's real.
We were actually in the cave, so there weren't any crocodiles there. The water was freezing. We didn't actually swim in them.
You know, I was scared, but I really liked the rush of it.
I'm a huge Dario Argento fan. I would happily have a giallo night.
The Thing and The Stuff. It sounds like I'm just saying gibberish, but those are names of movies.
The horror genre always evolves into something you're not expecting.
Why are we going here if everyone's died in this house?
I was actually scared as we were running through it.
Most of these guys who play really horrible characters are such sweet guys.
Part of this ongoing cult.
Anytime there's something spooky to be seen or heard or read, I'm there.
Horror has always felt like home to me.
Benet's Bloody Bits.
Welcome to Triple B. My name is Jason Benet. Having worked at video stores for years, I remember it like yesterday. The early 2000s, the DVD market exploded. Movies were coming out on a weekly basis. One of the main studios that was putting out titles was MGM. They had their midnight movie line, and things like Killer Clowns from Outer Space finally got a DVD release. Speaking of killer clowns, there was a film from 1989 called Clownhouse that I never heard of. It did find its way out on a DVD, and it was on the market for a short period of time before it was pulled. Now, I had never seen it. I had never heard of it, and I didn't understand what had happened. And then I started digging deeper into the truth of what happened on that set of the film, and it just I couldn't believe it. But let's look back. This is a hard discussion to have, but I think it's an important one. It's not something to shy away from. So let's talk about 1989's Clownhouse. So what happened here is the director of the film is Victor Salva. Victor Salva was convicted of sexual misconduct in 1988 for sexually abusing the lead actor of the film, Nathan Forrest Winters. He was a star of Clownhouse. He videotaped one of the encounters in which he forced Winters to perform oral sex on him. Commercial videotapes and magazines containing child pornography were also found in his home. He pleaded guilty to lewd and lascivious conduct, oral sex with a person under 14, and procuring a child for pornography. He was sentenced to 3 years in state prison, of which he served only 15 months. And he's a lifetime registered sex offender. He completed his parole in 1992. His mentor, of all people, was Francis Ford Coppola. Reportedly, Coppola told him that this experience in prison would have value and make him a better artist. Winters later picketed Salva's film premieres and released a documentary detailing the abuse by Salva, which began when Winters was 7 years old following a year of grooming. This is a lot. I know there's a lot of arguments between can you separate art from the artist, and people are bringing up like Woody Allen and Roman Polanski, and that's a fair argument. I don't cast aspersions on anybody who supports those guys in their films. If you can figure it out in your mind and live with your conscience, I guess that's good for you. But the difference is this happened on the set of a film. So when you realize when you're watching Clownhouse, this is a crime scene. This is evidence what you're watching. This is documenting, obviously, there are things in the film that kind of hint at what was going on. I mean, Winters is in his underwear, is in his PJs, and at one scene he's bottomless. Victor Salva has a cameo in the film where he stands behind Winters at this carnival, and you realize he's always in his shadow. He's always watching him, whether it's behind the camera or in front of it. And so when you watch Clownhouse, if you can, you're watching it through the lens of a pedophile. And that, I don't know how people could do it and not think about what this kid was going through. You could try to say, well, I like the movie. And there are people that enjoy this film. There are fans who would love to own it. Scream Factory had released 2 films that Victor Salva had did many years later, Jeepers Creepers and Jeepers Creepers 2. And they had the option, because these were all with MGM, Clownhouse 2, to put out Clownhouse, but they were like, no. I mean, I think if a boutique label were to put out Clownhouse, it would probably be a kiss of death for them, because the negative would outweigh the positive. I have watched the film before. It is a difficult watch. At some point, you do start watching it as just like a cinephile, and it's actually a competently made film. It's got some good scares. You could see that Victor has talent behind the camera, but you can't defend the indefensible. And from what I've read, I understand he had a tough upbringing. His stepfather beat the shit out of him. He was made fun of and mocked for being, morbidly obese, as well as homosexual. And those are horrible things. That should have never happened. But you don't double down and make the situation worse by taking, your personal demons out on an innocent kid. So Clownhouse is, again, there are people that enjoy the film. It's uploaded onto YouTube, and it has over 2 million views. I'm not sure if people know the facts of the case or not, and they might not care. So it is a popular film. Hasn't been available since, I want to say, about 2002, 2003. It was put on DVD. It was pulled. Some people did get copies of it. I'm sure it's readily available on the bootleg market. But, Victor continued to work in Hollywood. I'm not sure if these studios were aware of it or not. Touchstone, which is a division of Disney, put out Powder, which got really good reviews. And then, early 2000s, Francis Ford Coppola once again went to bat for Victor through MGM. And, Victor directed, there's 4 Jeepers Creepers films. Victor directed the first 3. And the first one that came out in 2001 was a big hit. Successful, did really well. Horror fans liked that film. They love that series. Some of them found out later what Victor did, and they threw their copies in the trash. And some people still champion it, and they love the Creeper, and I think that's a really iconic and original horror character. And I do agree, it is a really well-made film. It is enjoyable. But here's the thing. I think that, I don't know if Victor has ever publicly apologized to Nathan. Not that would fix what he did. It wouldn't. But when you watch Jeepers Creepers, you can't help that we're going back to where we were before. It's almost an allegorical tale, because Victor wrote and directed Jeepers Creepers, and when you watch The Creeper, you can't help think that it's an analogy for Victor. It's this monster who is chasing this brother and sister. Justin Long is the boy, and he's young here, but he's not a kid, but he's got that baby face. And through the whole film, this monster is chasing the boy, trying to get to them. He wants to devour him, and he wants to feed. And by the end of the film, the monster gets the boy. And I can't help but thinking, since Victor wrote and directed Clownhouse, wrote and directed Jeepers Creepers, that he's not talking about himself. I mean, it really could be seen that way. I don't think that's coincidence. I think that was on purpose. Victor has continued to work. He's done films like Rosewood Lane and Dark House. Hasn't done films in a while, but there are fans of Clownhouse. It's morbid curiosity for some people. And it's a difficult watch. I've only watched it from beginning to end at one time, and it's a home invasion film. But there's so many things in that film that hit home that I can't believe that Francis Ford Coppola really was an enabler here the director of Mega Flopolis is, had his back. And that's very disheartening to hear. It's hard to talk about these films like this. There are other cases of people out there that have done horrible things, and I still see them on TV today. I won't go down that road because I want to keep it focused on what happened on the set of Clown House. But I do have a feeling one day somebody's going to put it out on Blu-ray, and it probably will do really well. And it's probably going to upset a lot of people, in particular Nathan. I think, he's the one that we should be thinking about the most. And, his feelings, and he's going to be tormented until the day he dies. This is going to be with him forever. Unfortunately, this kind of stuff does happen in Hollywood more often than not. You can hear stories about Corey Feldman and Corey Haim and other actors, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, sometimes you have to do tough topics. Not everything's going to be fun and games when you're talking about cinema. And in the case of Clown House, it's deplorable what happened. I know it's a divisive film, and it has its fans, and some people think they should burn it and never be seen again. But anyways, I just want to come in, talk to you guys about Clown House, and get your thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching, and stay scared.